All right, let's just jump right in. Picture this. A new force emerges in the cosmos, something completely different. It's not a conqueror out to rule, and it's not a destroyer trying to end everything. No, this is something way more unnerving. It's a predator. An entity that looks at entire realities and doesn't see places to live or empires to build. He sees a hunting ground, a personal playground. And this is him, Jack Sovereign. See, he couldn't care less about cosmic balance or order. His whole purpose, his reason for being, is to create high-stakes conflict. He specifically seeks out major players, stirring up chaos just because he can. One minute, he's clashing with Vantyrella over the shattered pieces of a Chaos Stone. The next, he's hopping back to the Hyborian Age to mess with Red Sonja. For him, all of existence is just one big game board, and he's having the time of his life moving the pieces. And just look at how he operates. It's not about simple brute force. With Vampirella, it's a direct power play for a cosmic relic. But with Red Sonja, it's all a mind game, leaving her on edge with a debt that he never even bothers to collect. He even goes after evil Ernie to cash in on an old soul debt, and he's so unsettling that he terrifies Ernie's sidekick, Smiley, who's usually impossible to shake. And the Chaos Demons? Well, to them he's this complete anomaly they can't predict, can't corrupt, can't touch, which, of course, makes him their #1 target. His weapons aren't swords or armies, they're debt, manipulation, and conflict itself. But here's the thing. This isn't just random destruction. There's a terrifyingly coherent logic driving all of this, a whole philosophy behind the Predator. So that leads us to the real question. Who is this guy, this being that some call the Lantern Wolf, and what in the universe could he possibly be after? And this quote, "This is everything." This is the terrible, beautiful truth he stumbled upon that unlocked his true power. You know, while everyone else is scrambling to find their place in the grand cosmic scheme, Jack figured out that being an outcast, belonging absolutely nowhere, gave him the ultimate freedom. The freedom to become, well, anything he wanted to be. And that led him to his core philosophy, what he calls sovereign will. He took the universe's rejection of him and turned it into his own horrifying creation story. Where others saw an empty void, he saw a blank canvas. He realized that a life built on pure, ruthless willpower could forge its own destiny, completely outside the tired old rules of good and evil. He is that will, made flesh. And this, right here, is where he just completely breaks the game. For eons, there's been this cosmic debate between two forces. You've got Cynos, who preaches that all of existence is a mistake, and then you have Pan, who's all about power and affirmation. Jack just walks in and shatters that whole argument. He offers a third option, one based entirely on avarice. He's not here to debate whether existence is good or bad. He's just here to see what he can take from it. All debts, cosmic, infernal, you name it, they all answer to him now. So how does a soul even get to a place like that? To really get the Predator, we have to go back. We have to look at the horrifying transformation that made him what he is today. Jack's story is the ultimate act of subversion. He took every single piece of his own curse and literally forged it into the engine of his own ascension. That burning coal from the devil, that wasn't a punishment. It was the spark he used to ignite himself. The hollowed-out turnip he carried, that became the vessel for his new philosophy, that a will strong enough can create its own light, even in total darkness. But the real game changer, that was when he found the essence of a fallen seraphim down in the abyss. He didn't see a warning, he saw a kindred spirit, a kindred heresy. And in an act of absolute greed, he just consumed it, merging its divine power with his own bottomless avarice. That fusion just erupted inside him, this swirling green inferno. And in that moment, he stopped being some poor condemned spirit. He ascended by sheer force of will alone, snapping every metaphysical chain that ever held him. And in that fire, he burned away the pitiful name of Stingy Jack and forged a new, terrifying identity. Jack Sovereign, the Monstrum Unbound. And with a new identity, of course, come new names. And these aren't just titles, they're statements of purpose. The Lantern Wolf, the fire that refuses, the predator of the absolute. Each one tells you exactly what you're dealing with. This new form came with, well, unimaginable power. As a sovereign sorcerer, he doesn't just cast spells. No, he reaches into the code of the universe and rewrites causality itself, the very rules that tried to bind him. His lantern unleashes these pandemonium flames that can literally unmake concepts like morality or consequence. And that curse of eternal wandering? He turned it into the mastery of infinite movement. Now he can go anywhere to any plane, anytime, just by wanting to.
So, what does it actually mean to be anti chaos? Basically, his absolute sovereign will makes him a ghost in the system. Chaos demons, they thrive on predictable things like corruption, desire, and weakness. But they can't get a grip on Jack. Their magic has nothing to lock onto. They can't predict his moves, they can't control his mind, and they sure as hell can't infect his soul. He exists completely outside of their rules.
Now, think about what that really implies. His existence is like a blank space, a vacuum in the great cosmic ledger where a soul is supposed to be. And that's not just a passive thing. That void, that glitch in the divine order, exerts this terrifying pressure on all of creation. It threatens to unravel reality just by being there. And because he's this unique, one-of-a-kind anomaly, he's become the centerpiece of an ancient cosmic bet. On one side, you have Cynos, the voice of the void, who argues that existence is a fundamental error. And on the other, you have Pan, who represents wild creation and the sheer will to power. For ages, these two have been locked in this philosophical stalemate. And now? Now, Jack's unclaimed, sovereign soul has become the ultimate test case. He's the tiebreaker. The direction his will ultimately takes could finally prove one of them right, validating the meaning of all existence, or wiping it off the board entirely. He's not just a predator playing games anymore. He's the fulcrum on which all of reality is now balanced. Which brings us right back to where we started. But now you see the full picture, right? With a philosophy born from total rejection, power forged from heresy, and now holding the fate of everything in his hands, yeah, the entire multiverse really does become his personal playground. Every fight he starts, every debt he toys with, it's all just an expression of that absolute sovereign will. So I guess that leaves us with one final, really chilling question. Jack Sovereign represents a terrifying possibility. If you're in a cosmos that might not have any inherent meaning, no grand design, is a self-made, ruthless, sovereign will the only kind of power that actually matters? Is creating your own purpose, no matter how predatory it is, the ultimate way to exist?